every single question that you have on that pretest, if you do not know how to answer it, you will get a question wrong on your test. It's not might, it's will, okay? So your responsibility over the next 24 hours or so is to make sure, God bless you. Your responsibility is to make sure that you are 100% prepared for every question on the pretest. You have the pretest from the other day, and then you have the pretest I gave you today. So you have 2 copies of it, and there are lots of questions like this on your homework and so on and so forth. I sent an email to your parents that I'm going to have extra help tomorrow morning. I'm not going to have it Thursday this week. So if you wake up or you go to bed tomorrow night or tonight and you say to yourself, man, oh man, I still don't know how to get those 3 questions, make sure you come into extra help tomorrow. And we'll go over those 3 questions until you're ready for the test. Okay, so why don't we have you guys take a look at numbers 1 through 8. And if there's any of those you want to go over, I'll be happy to go over them on the board. But compare your answers to 1 through 8. And while you do that, I'm going to have an EL fudge cookie. What was that?
It doesn't tell you.
No, which one do you want to know how to do?
8. Why did you use T instead of X? Does it matter for that one?
Because T represents time. It's important in that to use T. God bless. Yes? What happened to the... You'll get it in a couple of minutes. Yes?
Get number 3 because isn't it negative to the second power? Don't you negate it?
You square it, then negate it.
Yeah, so it would be negative 4.
No. Look.
Negative 2 times
Ready?
negative 2.
Yeah, but don't you square it then negate it?
No, because the input is
Because
negative
it's in the
2.
parentheses.
Yeah.
That's the whole input. It means square exactly what the whole input is. In this problem, the whole input is negative 2. So I have to take the whole negative 2 and square it. That gives me a positive 8. Okay, is there anything else on numbers 1 through 8 that's giving you a hard time? Can I go forward? 2 more questions? Allie, we okay? Are you awake yet? No? Okay. You have this very glazed over look on your eyes right now, like. Okay, ready? Any problem on 9 and 10? Number 10, I didn't draw graphs for you, so I just drew what an exponential looks like and what quadratics look like. Anything that looks remotely close to either of those would be satisfactory. Yes?
You have to draw 2 quadratics?
No, I did 2 to make you aware that you could have one that's frowning and one that's smiling. I didn't want to put one and then have a different one on the test and then have you say, but it's not like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Okay. Now, this is a very important question that I want to go over. I heard a number of complaints from students. There are some dirty, rotten things about this that I did that I didn't mean to do, but I did. But it's good because it helps prepare you. And then there's some ones that you missed that we talked during class about. So the first thing is that you obviously are going to plug this function, y equals x squared plus x minus 12. You're going to plug it into the calculator. When you do that, you generate a table. Now, I know Mary doesn't like to copy the table down. We're over here. I skipped a page?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's over here. 10. Oh, you know what? It only graphed half the pages. I'll give you the answers to the other half in a minute, okay?
We need help.
Okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. Don't worry. Usually my scanner graphs or scans both sides, but apparently today it didn't scan both sides. Anyway, so I graph this function. I copy the table down. It's very important. God bless you. God bless. One more time. God bless. It's very important to copy this table down, okay? Then, some of these questions are very easy. They're all very easy once you recognize them. I thought personally that you should have gotten the zeros right and the vertex right, and the axis of symmetry I thought you would get wrong because I didn't teach it to you. Bless you. And again, and one more time. Okay. The zeros are really easy. The zeros are where it crosses the x-axis. So, here and here. You could also find the zeros by looking in the table and seeing what x values are associated with an output or a y value of 0. So that's pretty easy, straightforward, okay? Now, I absolutely remember talking to you about vertex. The vertex is the same exact thing as the coordinates of the turning point, but not too many kids remembered that. Maybe it's a little my fault because, God bless, usually I turn around and I hit the same topics over and over and over again on do-its and quizzes and homeworks, and I guess I didn't hit that one enough. Anyway, this point right here, right there, that is your vertex, the coordinates of the turning point. Now, here's the dirty, rotten thing I did, and it was just a mistake. It wasn't an intentionally malevolent thing. I made the mistake of, with this axis of symmetry, the axis of symmetry is the line right down the middle. I remember not teaching that to you. It was in the sheet, but we ran out of time that day, and I forgot to go back and hit it again. Now, symmetry means the same on both sides, right? You with me on this? Okay. So, in other words, they're saying, what's the equation of the line that splits the parabola in half? That makes it the same on both sides. I just drew it. It's blue. Now, what is the equation of that line? Any vertical line are the only lines that start with x equals. Any other line never starts with x equals. It always starts with y equals. Vertical lines, perfectly vertical lines, start with x equals. And all you got to do is see where it goes through the x-axis. In this case, it goes through negative a half. So, the axis of symmetry is x equals negative a half. And what that means is that the line x equals negative a half, that blue broken line I just drew, splits the graph in half. Now, the vertex has to be on that line. The vertex is the turning point. The turning point's always on the line. That's the axis of symmetry. So the x part has to be the same. These will always be the same. X. Oh, by the way, the number one thing, you want to write this down on your paper? Who's going to study tonight? Are you going to study? Raise those hands high. I'm telling you the number one mistake that kids make on the test tomorrow, by far. Kids just write negative a half here. And they're wrong. What do they have to write? X equals negative a half. That is the number one mistake I'm going to find on tomorrow's test. So if you're sleepy, if you're not into it, and you forget that, remember I told you. Now, the negative a half here will match the negative a half there. And then you just have to look for where negative 1/2 would be on the table and find the coordinate that matches it. You might have to, well, you would have had to plug it into the equation here and figure out what y equals. The good news is on your test, it doesn't work out to a decimal. It's a whole number. You can actually see it. It's like, let's say this was the graph here. You could just look and see, well, those coordinates are whatever, 8, 7, whatever they are. You just look at it and know. Okay? You can also find it on your table. It's the point in the middle that they change around. All right, so that's the graph. First, you graph the parabola. Second, you write the zeros where it crosses the x-axis. Third, the axis of symmetry is always x equals. Find where it goes through. It'll almost always be a whole number. This is just one that didn't work out well. And then the vertex is the coordinates of the turning point. Any questions? Yes?
How did you get negative 1
Negative 1/2.
1/2? Negative 1/2.
Because look, here's where the axis of symmetry goes right through the x-axis.
Yeah, but why can't you just put the line in?
Because if I put it someplace else, it doesn't split the parabola in half.
Wait, why isn't it?
It's different on each side. But if I draw it right down the middle, that's what symmetry means. Symmetry means same on both sides. So it's the axis. Axis means line. It's the line that the parabola is the same on both sides of the line. Okay? Are we good?
How do you get 12 and
Oh, if you take the negative 1/2 and plug it in, if you do negative 1/2 squared plus negative 1/2 minus 12, you'll get negative 12 1/4. Is it? No, it can't be 11 because this is negative 12 and this is negative 12 and it goes further down. So I don't know what you did wrong, but you did something wrong. Parabolas don't go like this. Okay? They just don't do it. Parabolas go like that. All right? All right, any other questions? Okay, so let's take a look at the next question on this page. Consider the table below, graph a function y equals 4 to the x. So look, I just plug in these values, negative 2, behave, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. I get the values for y that match up, and I graph it. Very straightforward, blah, blah, blah. This is the part that will give kids a little bit of a difficulty. What does average rate of change mean again? Oh, this isn't good. What does average rate of change mean again?
Change in y over change.
Right, slope, change in y over change in x. So, it wants the interval from 0 to 3. So I'm going to do 64 minus 1 over 3 minus 0, which is 63 over 3, which is, simplified, 21. Okay? Please, please, please do not convert to a decimal. So often I see kids convert to a decimal and they round off. They don't write the repeating symbol. Don't do it unless you're trying to order them and you can't figure out which fraction is higher. Okay, then you can convert to order them. But other than that, do not convert. Yes?
How come you didn't do, why did you on the y-intercept, not all the way by 116?
Huh? Did anybody get that?
Yeah.
Do you understood that?
Yeah.
What did she say?
Why did you use the 0 instead of the -2 when you subtract?
Because it said the interval from 0 to 3.
Um,
The x from 0 to 3. So x0, x3. Okay? Whatever they tell you the interval, I might give you the same graph on the test and ask you to do the interval from 0 to 2. I might say from -2 to 2. Okay? So I really don't know what it'll be.
okay.
Okay. Now, as far as the rest of the test goes,
This part needs
yeah, let's go to this here. I'll put this up on the board so I can reference it. I'm sorry it didn't scan. It usually does. Let's see here. Algebra reconciled. Da, da, da. Test. Oh, test 2. I want test 1. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, this is test C, right? Yep. Okay, so. Okay. Ready? Unfortunately, I did not, again, unfortunately this didn't scan. It has never done this before, so I don't know why it didn't scan. I'm going to have to watch that in the future. -1, 14 over 3. This is actually 3.5 over 3, which is kind of weird, but I went with it. As far as the graph goes, I didn't draw one the other day, so I said to draw your own. But I'm going to draw you the one that I drew. Your answer can vary, obviously, because you did a different one. 0, 1, and 3, 9. Using those points, I get 9 minus 1 over 3 minus 0, which is 8 over 3. Okay? So here's what we have. We have A is 3x minus 14, y equals 3x minus 14. the points I get are 3, -5, and 0, -2. No. Why did I get? Should be -14. I think I couldn't read my handwriting. So scratch this for a second here. -14 minus -5 over 3 minus 0, which is -9 over 3, which is -3. So A is -3. Okay. B is 3.5 over 3. I want that to stand out, so I wrote over it. C is, now why did I put 14 over 3 on this one?
Yeah, I only got positive. Yeah, how'd you get negative?
Look, -14 minus -5 is -9, right? Oh, I'm sorry, this should be 0 minus 3, which would make that -3, which would make that positive. Sorry about that. And then this guy, I don't know why I did that. I think I wrote it in the wrong place, because here I had the answer to the other one. This would be, I put the table in here. The first point is 0, -2. The second point is 315, right? That is a 15, isn't it? Yep. So I'm going to get 15 minus -2 over 3 minus 0, which is 17 over 3. So this guy's 17 over 3. And then this guy I subtracted and got 8 over 3. Which one's the biggest? The biggest is B, f of x. Okay? For letter A? Yeah, it should be over 3, because when you subtract the x's, you're going to get 3, not 5. Okay. As far as number 12 goes, number 12, if I remember right, number 12 is a question the kids rocked on last year. It's really pretty straightforward. List the domain. Okay, the domain is all the numbers on the left here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. The range, 33, 64, 95, 126, 157. What's the rate of change? If you want to find the rate of change here, there's a couple ways to do it. First, you could use any 2 points, use the slope formula. But this is a linear function. Can you see it's going up by the same number every time? What's it going up by? 31. So the rate of change is 31. If you plug in the formula, you'll also get 31. What's the y-intercept? Y-intercept always pairs up with 0. 33. Make sure you realize it pairs with 0. And what's the function rule? This is a linear function, so it's always in the form y equals mx plus b. What does m stand for? Slope. We said the slope was what? 31. And b stands for the y-intercept. No, m is the slope rate of change. B is the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept in the problem, everybody? 33. So I get y equals 31x plus 33. Okay? We already did the next page in its entirety. And then the last one you have is the snowfall problem, which looks like this on the back. I think this is really pretty simple. Okay? The rate of change is, again, same thing it has been multiple times through this pretest. It's 17 over 10, okay? And 8 p.m. is when you would be done. 8 p.m. is when you would be done, okay?
What time do you start at?
It says, if you read it, it says 10. Okay? You guessed a little.
Oh, okay, I misread it.
All right.
I thought it was past.
So that is, those are, or a review of your pretest. Now what I would like to do is give you your quiz.